seemingly out of nowhere, we're going to be getting some confirmation hearings over the summer. Yep, Stephen Breyer, Justice Stephen Breyer, the eldest justice on the bench at a spry old age of 83, has just decided, seemingly out of the blue, to retire. I heard this morning, and it's like, what the fuck? It's like not even that long ago he was talking about sticking around for however long he wanted to. Like, I got this article pulled up from July 15th of last year, so just about not even 6 months ago at this point, and he was talking about the only way, two reasons why he'd be stepping down is his health and then the court. So, okay, what has changed between July, okay, and today? And to be fair, he didn't make the announcement. Okay, there's been multiple sources out there that have done it for him, and all of the other policymakers that are going to be a part of the nomination and the confirmation process have already said their piece on it. So until he makes an official statement, okay, we don't know necessarily for sure if this is a big hoax or not, but it all just really seems like it's coming out of nowhere. But here's what he had to say, 6 months ago, okay? 2 factors will compel him to retire, the Supreme Court Justice said. There were just 2, primarily, of course, health, the second, the court, and 3, the fact that the Democrats are getting bitched out in conceivably every fucking poll. And what was it, yesterday we were just talking about, like 39% of people actually think that the Democrat leadership have a good grasp and they're, being competent with their leadership. And those polls, like we pointed out, they weren't right-wing polls. These were Harvard-Harris polls, probably published in the various articles and the various publications that Justice Breyer would be looking at. They would be in the New York Times. They're finally starting to break into those establishment outlets. So I figured out, instead of, making this complicated, okay, I can go out on a high note. I can have somebody who I've known for literally ever, pick my successor, and I won't make a 7-2 Supreme Court if anything tragic ends up happening, which I never wish for, okay? And you know what? I don't like Stephen Breyer's thought process. He might be a nice guy. He might be a hoot to hang out with. Don't know. Never gonna happen, okay? But he's one of those living document types that you interpret this Constitution of the United States as a living document. You apply to it the context of the times, okay? Not the New York Times, not the Washington Times, okay? Just in the context of the modern day, that's what you apply your interpretation of the Constitution to, okay? But to be fair, you can rely on him sticking to that, okay? There's no activist bone in his old ass body, okay? He is reliable to his thoughts and his opinions throughout his entire 27, I guess by the end of this, 28-year stay on the court. So I shudder to think what his replacement is going to be. We have a short list and you can fit all of them on the short bus. But just a little bit more about this. It has made a difference to me, to those, he said, of those discussions and the role in them. It's not just a fight, it's not sarcasm, it's deliberation. He did offer something of a clue in terms of the timeline when he discussed the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who was confirmed to the court just a year before him in 1993. Doesn't want to, finally be drugged out of there when he figures out that the jig's up and that, we can't animate that corpse any longer. That and those dastardly midterms are coming up at the end of the year, and this would, of course, rely heavily on the Republicans finding their balls there for a minute, but there's a very, very slim majority on this one. That the Democrats hold in the Senate, because the House doesn't matter on this one. The confirmation happens in the Senate. So the Democrats have it at this point. Theoretically, Biden can appoint whoever he needs to. They will have the 51-50 on there to appoint probably the last person who's going to be appointed to the Supreme Court for a very long time. Okay, because I know it was fast and furious for quite a while there under Trump. 4 years, 3 new justices. Okay, Scalia, who we never really got to the bottom of, pieced out just at the end of Obama's term. Okay, probably something that weighs a lot on Breyer's mind is that the Republicans had the nuts in order to just hold off until 2016 election occurred. So would they have the balls to do it for 2 years? I highly doubt it, but it's possible. So maybe that influenced his decision on this one. And then Kavanaugh, I think that was 18, and then Barrett and 2020, but who's the oldest justice after that? Unfortunately, it's Clarence Thomas, but he's 71, okay? Which, frankly, by contrast, in today's day and age, is a spring chicken for federal politics. And Alito is, I think, late 60s, might be 70 at this point. And then everybody else is in mid to late 50s, okay? I think Roberts might be 60. So these guys are going to be around for a long time, barring anything catastrophic, and I don't wish that on anybody, of course. It's just, this is the last time that he can ensure, well, Breyer can, that he's going to step down and that the Democrats are going to theoretically have the open highway in order to replace him with somebody who has a similar fact pattern or a similar ideological slant. Like I said here at the beginning, all the important policymakers in this one have already had their statements on this one. First and foremost, Chucky Schumer, okay, he says that the Senate's going to be holding prompt and deliberate Senate hearings on this one. President Biden's nominee will receive a prompt hearing in the Senate Judiciary Committee and will be considered and confirmed by the full United States Senate with all deliberate speed. Don't really know about that one because the groundwork was already set early, okay, when Biden was appointing different nominees to his cabinet, different positions that were out there. There were some people that were too radical, even for some of the moderate Democrats, and some of them do exist, okay? Take them for what you will. They just couldn't go along with some of the finance appointees, okay, some of the health appointees. There was a couple of them, I do remember, can't remember them off by name, but remember a couple of them that had to be withdrawn because one was for the ATF. Because they were so anti-Second Amendment that it's like, okay, we tried, but, you know, we'll just go ahead and replace them with somebody else. Fine, fuck it, we'll try again later. And one of those anti-capitalists on the finance, some wing of the finance committee. So they got to tread lightly. They got to tread lightly, and they can't push the activist agenda too far. But I guess that's why they're trying to couch it with the replacement that they're going to, because Biden made a brief statement on this one. And again, we haven't heard anything official from Stephen Breyer himself, and the White House is reluctant to say anything before an official announcement is made, which is fair, which is totally fair. But it's likely to come, okay? And everything points to the end of the current session of the Supreme Court. Breyer will step down, and then theoretically there'll be somebody right there to fill the position so that the next session can continue on unencumbered. President Biden told reporters that he would have more to say later about Justice Breyer's retirement. There's been no announcement from Justice Breyer. Let him make whatever statement he wants to make, and I'm happy to talk about it later. The president was asked to comment on the news of liberal justice's retirement right after several media outlets reported it, and before a White House event scheduled for Wednesday afternoon. White House said earlier that day that they didn't have any comment on Breyer's retirement, so Biden made a very brief one, I suppose. It has always been the decision of any Supreme Court justice if and when they decide to retire and if they want to announce it, and that remains the case today. We have no additional details on the information to share from the White House. Press Secretary Jen Psaki wrote in a Twitter post. I forgot about this one, and just as a refresher before we get into the short list or short bus of potential nominees from Biden's or whoever's going to be writing his list for him. During the 2020 presidential election campaign, he pledged to nominate a black woman to fill any Supreme Court vacancy, which is just going to show you that it's not about merit, it's not about skill, it's not about the best person for the job, it's not about the best, fairest, consistent judge that's out there or anybody in the judicial system that can be appointed, because it's either Sotomayor or Kagan who never tried a case. Okay, Kagan was the head of Harvard Law, okay, and Sotomayor is an idiot. I'm pretty sure it was Kagan. She was just always an academic, never tried a case, but so it really doesn't matter. It's going to be a goddamn black woman and you're going to fucking like it. Which this isn't a unique position, okay? This isn't even an old concept. What happened just with ACB, okay? I don't remember anything officially on the record, but you always heard secondhand that because it was Ginsburg's seat that came up, Trump was going to replace her with a woman. Okay, that's just exactly what was going to happen. He might have exactly said that, but I remember him also saying, or the reports that were out there, was that Trump was holding back the ACB nomination in order to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Okay, that was the idea that was out there, but it was going to be a woman that was up there. We covered it extensively at the time, but it's not a unique position. Okay, this whole identity politics idea is played by both sides, but nothing so specific on this one, but it totally fucking makes sense. And as soon as this came out, I was thinking, it's like, how fucking radical are we gonna get? So we got a short list compiled here, and of course, one of them sticks out like a stiff prick in a whorehouse, but enough about Kamala. We'll be talking about her shortly. But Ketanji Brown Jackson, Leondra, Kruger, and of course, Kamala Harris. These could be your new Supreme Court justices, okay? Wonder if any of them are going to don the doily over their robes. President Joe Biden committed during the 2020 presidential election to nominating a black woman to the United States Supreme Court, though he would not, unlike President Donald Trump, reveal a list of candidates for the public to scrutinize. Oh, really? So it's just going to be this magic person who shows up. Well, there are many outstanding black female attorneys and jurists. There's still a few on the federal bench or the senior judicial position, making Biden's list of potential candidates a unusually short one. So here are 3 possible nominees. Number 1. And probably the most likely because she seems to be the most prominent on this one. Okay. Ketanji, Katie to her friends, Ketanji Brown Jackson. Jackson has the distinction of having passed Senate confirmation already in the recent past, making it through the process last year on a 53-47 vote, with 3 Republicans joining the Democrat senators in voting for her. She is considered a liberal, one who ruled frequently against the Trump administration. That's why she's probably at the top of this list in her tenure in the D.C. District Court, but she is not considered as potentially radical as Kruger. Okay, but Brown also had a very, very famous decision, and when I was going back and doing some research for this to find a short list of candidates, during her time as a judge, Jackson has ruled on many high-profile cases. She was part of the decision to order former President Donald Trump's White House counsel Don McGahn to comply with the House of Representatives subpoena as part of its impeachment inquiry into then-President Donald Trump. One line in the ruling impressed Democrats. The primary takeaway from the past 250 years of recorded American history is that presidents are not kings. Stunning and brave. So, if they're going on rhetoric and they're just going completely on appearances, that one right there has got to be very, very high up there. And she does seem fairly young. So, again, 51. So, she going to be around forever. But Leondra Kruger is apparently only 45 years old. That one means that she could be around for literally ever. Okay. She was appointed by fellow Yale Law School alumni Governor Jerry Brown in 2014. Oh, and she's from the California Supreme Court, by the way, so you know what? A bunch of good decisions will be coming from her. Breitbart News reported that at the time, Kruger had compiled an impressive legal career in a short time, including work at the United States Supreme Court, but has never served on a bench or practiced law in California. Perfect. Sign her up right now. Los Angeles Times reported in 2020 that she had emerged as a moderate, though it is relative to a liberal California court. Yeah, exactly. And then more on her, because I'd like a little bit more of a detailed breakdown on this one. She served under President Barack Obama as acting principal deputy solicitor general from May 2010 to June 2011. So she'd probably know at least a little bit about Biden. I wouldn't question him too hard to see if he remembers, where she argued 12 cases front of the Supreme Court, so she has ties there as well. During her time in the Department of Justice, Kruger earned both 2013 and 14 the Attorney General's Award for Exceptional Service, which is the agency's highest employee award, so she's a lifer in the federal system. Clerked for late Justice John Paul Stevens, who's on the Supreme Court, from 75 to 2010, died in 2019. Kagan would have taken his spot. She's the youngest person appointed to the California Supreme Court. Then Governor Jerry Brown nominated her in 2014. Still sits as an associate judge on this court. Kruger has authored a few notable opinions, including banning law enforcement from searching a woman's purse without a warrant. Cool. I'd like to see your decision on that, but illegal search and seizure, it kind of makes sense, but just based on that, if that's a person of interest and that they're just there, depending on if they're at the crime scene or not, I don't know. I'm of two minds about that decision. But anyways, Kruger also upheld a California law requiring law enforcement to collect DNA samples and fingerprints from people arrested or convicted of felony offenses. Interesting. Maybe if they're convicted, but not just simply arrested. Another justice who wasn't on that list, but we'll get back to it when we start to talk about the long ditch effort there. Childs, this is South Carolina U.S. District Court Judge J. Michelle Childs, all right, reportedly has the backing of Biden ally House Majority Whip James Clyburn, of course, to replace Breyer, so we'll see what happens there. U.S. District Court of South Carolina judge was nominated last month by the Biden Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit. The nomination is still pending. Oh, I'm sure that's probably, but the nomination is still pending. With a South Carolina school law degree, Childs doesn't have the Ivy League education that the 8 that 8 of the 9 current justices hold. The only one without an Ivy League, or rather, it's just Harvard and Yale that's up there. Okay. The only one that's not from an Ivy League school? Amy Coney Barrett, by the way. Notre Dame. Close, but no cigar. Breath of fresh air that advocates for her nomination as an advantage in making Democratic Party appeal less elitist. So yeah, she's probably a distant third choice on this one. Child spent a decade in private practice and as a state court trial judge in the South Carolina Circuit. Also, in her tenure, she was deputy director of South Carolina Department of Labor, Licensing and Regulation, and commissioner on the South Carolina Workers' Compensation Commission. Cool, man. She actually doesn't sound that bad, but that's also without seeing any of her decisions, so she could be a complete nut job, but she does have some experience in the private sector, so she has been a defense attorney, so that's a positive as well. So we'll see, though. But if she has the endorsement of James Clyburn, that's also a huge mark against her. But then, of course, yeah, if they wanted to just be completely openly corrupt, they could just go ahead and appoint Leslie Abrams Gardner, serves as Georgia's district court and is the sister of voting rights advocate and several-time failure to elected office Stacey Abrams. You got a couple of other people as well, but Daily Mail asks a question here. What about Kamala Harris? What about her? Harris failed the bar exam, and she would be the first Supreme Court justice to have done so. She also has a long legal career behind her. She was elected district attorney of San Francisco and also California attorney general. She has considered radical views on a variety of issues, prosecuted anti-abortion filmmaker David Dalladine, whatever, but replacing her would help the West Wing solve political problems about potentially replacing Biden. Yep. Yeah, exactly, because it's a sinking ship, okay, and they know that, and that's why Breyer made this seemingly completely out of the blue fucking decision. So, in order to stave off the embarrassment, if Biden just decides, like Breyer, to sunset after, his first term, instead of saving his ticket the embarrassment of single-digit primary results for Kamala there, and just to do something so super impressive, and it is highly unlikely but incredibly newsworthy, of appointing his vice president to a lifetime appointment on the highest court in the land. It would sure make headlines. It would sure be monumental, but it ain't gonna fucking happen. Honestly, it's probably gonna be Jackson. Okay, it might be Kruger, but it's probably gonna be Jackson. Okay, but these confirmation hearings, they're going to be something else, because they're going to have to tread a line. They're going to have to find literally everything, and goddamn right, okay, all of the Republicans are going to nickel and dime, and they're going to needle their way through this, because they're feeling quasi-emboldened. And whenever they start to push back, they seem to trend better in the polls, and that's what these establishment types really like, and that's the base that they play to. So, we're going to be in for a crazy few months, okay? And if they don't get the nominee that they want, and they don't get what they like, or maybe if they end up getting the green light on this one, maybe that'll spur on the whole, we went through that court confirmation process so quickly. Why not add another 9? Oh, fuck, while we're at it, since we're all here, why not just confirm a whole bunch of people? Because, god damn it, that court and that group of old white people, just don't look at Clarence Thomas, don't look at Barrett. Those old white men that are up there, yeah, they need a diverse company. They might try it. Everything else is fucking failing around them. But with that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.